Okay, here we are live. Welcome, welcome everyone to our Unlimited Network Mastermind. Every Saturday we get here together 10 a.m. Eastern Time just to learn, grow, and really acknowledge our conscious entrepreneurship. I would say this meeting, this time together is dedicated to entrepreneurs, to conscious entrepreneurs, to the ones that choose to build up their business and their life, I will say, from the inside out, and to do the inner work that is required to really be successful in alignment with our true nature, and letting go the old consciousness about effort and scarcity and etc., limitations and etc. So here we are. And today is Saturday, April 18, and last weekend we are working this time with the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity from Catherine Ponder. It is an incredible journey. For me, it's been incredible. And let's go a little bit. We went through chapter 1, just we're deepening and integrating our right to be rich. So if you are not clear on that one, go and read it again and study it, because I mean it's incredible how misunderstanding the misunderstanding that we had, from the mixing between spirituality and being a good person and being rich and wealth and all that stuff, so his interest very powerful, that chapter. So if you are not clear on that one, if you keep having thoughts about rich people are this or are that in a judgmental way, limiting way, remember that will not support you to be rich yourself. And as Catherine was teaching us in this book, is really our right and our divine right. So it's not just our ego right, okay? It's our divine right. So that was important. Chapter number 2, we were really deepening into the law of irradiation and attraction. So to start to realize that we attract what we vibrate. So we have to give something out before we get it. And we are energetic beings and feelings. So again, if you have some doubt on that one, just go back to that chapter, because I think every time that I read the chapter, even if I studied already for years, I get something deeper. So don't doubt to enjoy that. It's a great gift. And then last week we dive into chapter number 3, that is the law of vacuum and forgiveness. And was a very hot chapter. We were all here engaging at the end and to really talking about forgiveness and how do we apply forgiveness, what that means in our life. So I think I would like to open the mastermind today to check if we have some comments from the panel. We cannot hear all the ones that you are in the other side, guys, but welcome for sure. You can always write your comments on questions and on your questions, so Arne can read them. But let's check here how we are doing with forgiveness. To really have not fear to release everything. Personally, I want to share that I'm practicing to dedicate like between 15 and 20. I don't know, right to half an hour, but 15-20 minutes every day. I have my little paper that I burn after, but where I title, forgiveness, release of the day, and I just center myself and check in my heart if there is anything that can, that can stand on the way, that I'm upset about, that I'm irritated, that is really something that holds me back instead of being completely present, free, and in the moment, And guess what? Every day there is something. And lately there is much less than in the beginning. Of course, I started 2 or 3 weeks ago, because I started with my Spanish group that we are studying the same book. And it's very beautiful, because during the day sometimes I become aware of things that are judgmental. I'm judging something, or I feel judged, or just having thoughts of limitations when I want something and whatever, I cannot afford it apparently, or something like that. So I really write that down, and it helps me a lot to let it go, to get that practice of breathe it out, I don't have to push it away, but I can let it go. And it feels good. So I would love to see if you have any comments from the work that you have done from last week to this week about forgiveness, the law of vacuum, the faith that she was talking at the end, you know, like to use the money that you have with the complete faith that you're going to be covered. So to really value what you have today with the faith that all what you're asking is coming. I mean, this is huge to really embody all these teachings, you know, it is powerful. So let's open the call here to see if there is someone that would like to comment. I see Celio with the microphone open. Celio?
Yes, well, you know, for me, hello, can you hear
Yes?
me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Whole point of that chapter, you know, is just to make place for the new, so that the new comes, the new situation, the new business, the new money. I have to make place. I have, you know, forgiving in that sense is just to allow, to give place. If I have place for resentment, if I am full of ideas of situations that went wrong, if I am full of what didn't work out, if I am full of that, I will never allow the flow for the new. So for me, the whole point of the vacuum and forgiving is just to allow to make place for the new. And there's always new situations that come that can be irritating and don't have to manifest the way we think they should. And then again, I can use this vacuum. You know, I just had a situation this week that was like irritating. Was like, oh my God! But now this, what is this happening? And just letting it go. You know, just I don't know, the magic of Catherine Ponder is just asking, you know, the desire to have it, you know, dissolve, to let it go to this situation, this person, and whatever it is, you know, and then allowing for the new, because in that moment that magic happens, something new manifests, it's a new feeling. It doesn't have to be a new person or that my bank account is going to be full suddenly. But then I'm making place for that, for the new money, the new situation, the good business, the good way that I want the thing to manifest, you know, making it clean. So vacuum, you know, is like cleaning, it's like cleansing, it's like releasing to me, you know, it's like making place for the new. For example, the last chapter, Monica, I love that you say that we start making that, you know, like statement. So the last chapter, you know, making room for this chapter that Dr. Frank is going to read today, the chapter 4, you know, with everything she talks about in this chapter, that I just love it. But I understand that it's so perfect. It's the way this book is worked out, because to understand chapter 4, I have to do a vacuum work. I have to allow so that this, all, you know, these projects, all these desires that she's going to talk about today take place, and I'm totally clear in what I want. So for me, forgiving and vacuuming is allowing, making place, and making room for the best. And that's a powerful statement. I don't know, she's in chapter 4, last chapter. Just make place for the best that can manifest in my life. Sometimes it's a bit scary. For me, I find that scary. It's like my ego, my mind is scared of what's going to be the best. I'm so happy with, you know, with what I know. So this is for me like the magic of this moment that is happening, no? That allowing chapter 4 to manifest by understanding what happened in the chapters before. And Monica, you and I were working, you know, with the Spanish group. It's like, you know, we're going one chapter ahead, and then it's like we have to do so much vacuum, so much clarity has to be, you know, like reading. Sometimes it can get our mind says like, enough, you know, I have understood, and then and then you realize, no, there's more releasing to be done, there's more cleaning, and there's more understanding. So it's just the way it's manifesting for me.
Wow. Thank you, Celio. Thank you, thank you. And I see that, you know, for us to make it practical, you know, to really use it in our daily life. So thank you, Celio. Candace, I see you with the microphone open.
That's because I forgot to close it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I always like to talk about forgiveness, though, because it's the kind of thing that makes a big difference. whatever the circumstance, it is the key piece to me returning to good feelings as quickly as possible, and therefore empowering myself to act with more heart in just about any situation, to come from my love in my life, and that is one of the handiest tools in the toolbox as far as I'm concerned. To be able to forgive and to forgive quickly and just have it kind of on instant to the best of my ability. And if I'm not feeling good, that is one of the first, or if I'm upset about something or whatnot, that's the first thing to look for is what can I forgive? Now maybe you breathe first and then look for what to forgive. So I'll close with that. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, Candace. Thank you, thank you. Yes, great. Well, this is the idea, you know, to really practice, to walk our talk. Mr. Ranson, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, and hi to everyone on the other side and watching the video also and the live streaming. For me, chapter 4, the forgiveness and creating vacuum, I noticed, well, I have some progress this week because I have at least 2 places where I have received in a way that I am normally not receiving. So I'm opening up something. And the way I see that I've been blocked and that I'm opening up is that I don't get irritated, but I have some deep not allowing. I have a deep judgment which keeps me in charge of my life, so I don't accept support on some level, and I am the one who is the source of my of all my creations, and that is because I'm holding out support, and so the forgiveness is needed in not holding out support and letting not only me fill up the vacuum with whatever I can create, which is very limited, to open up to the abundance of the support of the universe, of the support. So I've done that a bit, letting go of I have to be the one who is the source, and allowing a vacuum there, and which is a part of the forgiveness, which then allows others or the universe to support me. And I've seen some of that this week, so I'm very grateful for that. Moving on.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I think the idea of forgiving there will be to forgive the pain that support has, that you have associated with support, you know, like to really forgive the first, not, I don't know even if you have to be conscious or not, but to really relate with the support, you know, any projection that you have projected on support, you know, the energy of support. So to be willing to let all that go. And I mean, who knows all the memories that we come from, you know, like I was saying in the beginning, like we really are waking up from this dormant being, you know, not knowing who we truly are. So we believe all around a world of fear and limitations. And so every time that we are aware of that, you know, like just ask for, thank you so much, you know, I set you free, you know, like I'm done with this frequency, right? So thank you. And I'm saying that because I love to make this practical. Again, for me, there is a big difference between reading a book and doing the work, you know, like to really applying and make it, you know, make it a habit in your life, you know. And yes, I think Doc Fran opening the microphone here. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, well, good morning, and I'm so delighted that we're carrying over a little conversation about forgiveness to this week, because I was disappointed that I had to leave quickly. Celia, you hit the nail right on the head. It is about vacuuming out, and what I'd like us to consider or think about is what exactly are we vacuuming out? what is forgiveness? What's the mechanism, and why is it so important? Well, Nancy and I studied Dianetics and Scientology for 13 years, and we went through some very extensive mental clearing processes called auditing. And one of the most powerful experiences that I've ever had in my life occurred during one of these auditing sessions. And I'll describe the incident, and then I'll tell you the mechanism of what happened in that incident. And we were going through some auditing and talking about, upsets that we had. And when I was 2 years old, my sister Connie, who was 4 and who was my little mother and my constant playmate and basically my whole world, died suddenly from a brain tumor. And you wouldn't think that a 2-year-old would have any memory of that, or that would have any lasting effect. Well, I was 42 years old when I was going through this particular auditing session, and we encountered the incident in which my sister Connie died. And I had so much energy stored up, and so much anger and resentment and misunderstanding and no understanding of what that meant and how it happened and why it happened, that I literally went into a catatonic state for about 25 minutes, where I was rigid in the chair with my arms and legs out, just rigidly extended, with the physical sensation of electricity shooting out of my fingers and toes. And at the end of that, I was totally exhausted and done. But what happened in that event? Well, we learned, and we all know, we've talked about the fact that thoughts are things. Thoughts have mass. Thoughts are actually measurable. The energy associated with thoughts are measurable. So what happened there is that there was such a tremendous amount of energy in my brain, in my mind, in my soul, captured and locked in that incident, that it was unavailable to me for 40 years of my life. It was discharged in this really cataclysmic explosion of psychic discharge during that 25-minute period. Well, what happened and why did it happen? Well, we learn, we've read, we know, we hear, if you've read Eckhart Tolle or anything, that we have to be present in the present minute. That the only thing of value in our life, the only time period of value in our life, is now, and the power of now and all of that thinking. Well, what that means is that we want to have all of our mind power available to us to focus on exactly what's happening now. Well, that mind power is called attention units. And every time something upsetting happens to us, we dedicate a series or a set or a subset of attention units to that incident. Does that make sense to everybody? And if we don't discharge that incident in its entirety, those attention units are perpetually locked in that event. And they are therefore unavailable to us to use in our current time. So the power of forgiveness is that it literally allows you to free up all of the insisted and locked attention units that have been gathering in your mind for all time. It can, we'll talk just specifically, not to get too woo-woo about it, but we'll just talk about current lifetime experiences such as the death of my sister. Tremendously charged event which locked up a tremendous amount. It completely changed how I viewed every relationship in my life from that minute forward. It was literally a rebirth, getting rid of that one giant charge. And we all have hundreds, if not thousands, of incidents like that that have locked up. Every upset is equal in the sense that it locks up attention units. So through the power of forgiveness, you can literally unlock and free up those attention units, which allow you to become more present and more conscious in the present time, freeing up your mental power and your total power, your spiritual power, for use in the present time. That it's so important. About 4 years ago, I was introduced to a book called Radical Forgiveness by a gentleman named Colin Tipping. So, Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. And I highly recommend that people get that book and read it, because it has a whole series, has a workshop associated with it, it has forms, it has a technique and a technology to allow yourself to radically forgive and locate, radically and radically forgive all of the events that have locked up attention units in your life, to free them. And it doesn't all happen. I mean, still, how many of you can recall right this minute an upsetting incident in your life, a very emotional, it doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to be tragic, it could just be a very emotional time. And you can get emotional in this minute simply by recalling that incident. Well, that is attention units that are still locked in that incident. It may have happened 5 years ago, it may have happened 50 years ago. Makes no difference. So that was the purpose, and I thought it was really amazing that Catherine Ponder, in this chapter on creating a vacuum, blowing out all the bad in order to allow the good to occupy that space, actually brought in the concept of forgiveness, but she really low-keyed it, in my opinion. And through my experience, I understood how enormous that little, almost anecdotal part of the chapter was in understanding the mechanism by which the power of the vacuum of prosperity actually works. I'm done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you for real experiences again. I think that is very inspirational, Dr. Fran. I mean, I love that, and that's the way I think we are liberating ourselves, you know, like more and more. And all this, you know, all this time together here, mastermind or whatever, at the end, I think we are growing in awareness, like you were saying, the present time, you know, like to have the more and more capacity to be in the now and to be aware of what it is that I'm feeling and what is really going on inside, so I can forgive and let go. I can give, you know, back to source. I can let it go completely, you know, anything that I sense that can be constrictive, you know, or limiting or discomfort. I mean, really forgiveness is such a key, you know, but the willingness, I think, is what we need to start with, and the deep understanding that you were saying right now, Dr. Fran, you know, and Celio and all of us, I think, here, you know, to get the newness, the freshness of the present moment, of the success that is our birthright and all that stuff, to let go all the old us that is, like you were saying right now, Dr. Fran, very well expressed, you know, like completely, you know, crystallized, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, how you resolve that trauma, you know, that contraction that there, right? Well, bring awareness, you know, be willing to go there, right? And so thank you so much, Dr. Fran. I really appreciate that we can share personal stories to inspire us, you know, to go for it and to don't be afraid of that shadows and that aspects that holds us back. The opposite, these are our path to enlightenment, I will say, you know, so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I have one more rhetorical question for the group, and as you think back over the lexicon or the spectrum of people that you might need to forgive, who do you think is the most important one to forgive?
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful question, and take the time to do it, you know, because
Myself.
A plus, Arnie.
Beautiful. So that's powerful, and take the time to do it. You know, sit down. I mean, we are talking here to do inner work. You know, so take the time, pen and paper, or you know, a friend that you trust, and look in the mirror. I mean, there is so many options, but the practicality of it, we have to execute it. We have to not only to be willing, that I think is the first step, but to do it, you know, in the moment, to stop and to choose, like you were saying, Candace, too, you know, to choose where do I put my attention here, you know, do I put it in the all running show, or I stay still and I liberate that moment, you know, from my awareness, from the light that I am. Beautiful, great, oh my gosh, you know, I think we could, you know, we can read this chapter. Maybe when we finish the entire book, Dr. Fran, we come back again to the points that are so important. But like you were saying, Celio, without emptying the space, we cannot build up the new, you know, so again, you can do this, you know, every day is what I'm doing. I'm not stopping building up the new, but every day in my little papers that I have, I don't know where here, you know, that I burn after with my fire. I make a little ceremony because I like to do that. You don't have to, but the thing is, you know, to open that space in a connection with yourself. You know, every day to be willing, you know, to see deeper and to release more and to be more in the now, like Arne was inspiring us to. You know, like to really allow ourselves to be here now. You know. Beautiful, thank you so much. So we will think more, you know, to me, I think one of the, I think myself at the end, of course, always come back to myself, but I had many times, you know, where I really, you know, faced my own resentment with my father image that at the end was associated with God image, you know, it's almost like my father when, if I didn't trust my dad, in quotes, that is not the case today, but, you know, for whatever personal story, you know, that projected also to the source, to God, father image, you know, in my own culture. So it was very powerful for me to unite all this understanding, to really relate to it, to face it, to feel it, you know, and to release it and to start build up. Now I have more space to build up the trust in men to begin with, and then of course in God, you know, that I have more and more connection with source, God, love, whatever we want to call it here. So interesting journey, Dr. Fran. Thank you for going so deep, because we can go, you know, to all the deep that we choose here. So thank you very much. Beautiful. So with that, I think we are ready to jump into chapter 4. Dr. Fran, how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm ready, if you're ready.
Yes, I think so. So, right. Yes. No more comments on the other side, Arne? I know we have some people looking at the video. They have questions about forgiveness or sharing or something?
No, I don't see any questions as of now.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so then let's go and jump into the chapter number 4, Dr. Fran.
All right. Well, I actually was able to free up some attention units and prepare for this today. So I
Beautiful.
All right, chapter 4 is the creative law of prosperity. Let us get down to business about prosperity. Now that you have formed a vacuum, you are ready to fill that vacuum with rich, new, good through the creative law of prosperity. Actually, the creative law of prosperity concerns the 3 basic steps given in this chapter and the next 2. Number 1 is having a plan, writing out one's desires concerning that plan and constantly expanding that plan. Number 2 is mentally imaging that plan and those plans desired as fulfilled. And number 3, constantly affirming their perfect fulfillment. However, the first part of the creative law, as discussed in this chapter, is all important because without a plan and notes concerning it, the other 2 steps are ineffective. The first step in the creative law of prosperity is desire. The ability to do something constructive about that desire. A strong desire denotes faith in the product, which is almost inevitably brings satisfaction. There is nothing weak or lukewarm about true desire. It is intense and powerful. If properly developed and expressed, a strong desire always carries with it the power for success. The stronger your desires for good, the greater the power of your desires to produce that good for you. I have discovered in counseling people who have various problems that the right kind of desire will dissolve anything that has stood in the way of fulfillment. Right desire is truly the first step in solving problems and getting on the road to prosperity. How can you release your deep-seated desires for prosperity and success? By centering your attention on one big goal at a time. One big goal always includes a number of smaller desires that are automatically fulfilled when the big one is achieved. Psychologists agree that we influence people and events by having great desires and great goals. It is as though everything and everybody subconsciously tunes in on our big desires and goals and gets busy helping us to achieve them. The amazing thing is that of the millions of people who think that they want to be successful, few of them have any really strong, impelling desires. They have been content to idly drift in a stream of small events and small expectations. When you meet a person who is really going places in this world, usually it is a person of intense desire for the highest and best in life. One of the basic statements I have often asked people to use to help expand and intensify their constructive desire is this: I desire the highest and best in life, and I now draw the highest and best to me. Write down your desires. The law of creative prosperity is to take your deep-seated desires and, instead of suppressing them as impossible dreams, begin expressing them constructively through deciding what they really are, and then doing something very simple but very powerful about them. Write them down. This idea of writing out your desires and formulating a plan on paper clarifies the desire in your mind. And the mind produces definite results only when it has been given definite ideas through which to work. Many people work hard at prosperity in external ways, but they miss the mark because they are afraid to get definite in their thoughts and desires. They want to live better and to have more money, but they never get definite in their desires about how they want to live better or how much more money they need. The power of writing out one's desires and plans was first proved to me by my former boss, Joe Talley, a number of years ago. One day, after he had just been defeated in a congressional race, instead of feeling sorry for himself, he immediately got busy formulating a new plan. He stated his desire for a larger law office, his desire for the expansion from a 2-man firm to a 5- or 6-man firm, and the desire to increase the annual income he wished the firm to attain year by year for the next 5 years. Nothing succeeds like success was surely manifested for Joe Talley after he formulated a plan, dared to put it in writing, and started moving toward it. Prosperity is a planned result, and Joe Talley proved that prosperity is a planned result. Prosperity is the result of deliberate thought and action. There is nothing hit and miss about prosperous living. It is a planned result, just as a bridge or a building is a planned result. Without deliberate, prosperous plans, there will be no prosperous results on a consistent, permanent basis. Perhaps you are thinking that you do not really know what you want, that your desires are not that definite as yet. In that case, simply begin thinking about and even making lists of what you don't want in your life that is there. List the things you wish to clear up and eradicated from your life. To that list, declare, "This too shall pass," or "Be thou dissolved." One group of business people that experimented with me on prosperous thinking during a recent recession did this. They first wrote out their desires for 6 months hence and then wrote out their desired achievements for each month of the 6. Each week they added to their list or changed their list or desired results as they felt led. In some instances, they changed the list completely, expanding their desires or crossing off desires that no longer appealed to them. Then each week, the class members brought those listed desires to class. No one ever saw those individual lists except each student. We began each class period by privately taking our lists in hand and verbally declaring together concerning them. Quote, I am the rich child of a loving Father. All that the Father has is mine to share and to experience. Divine intelligence is now showing me how to claim my own God-given wealth, health, and happiness. Divine intelligence is even now opening the way for my immediate blessings. I have faith that all that is mine by divine right now comes to me in rich abundance. My rich blessings do not interfere with anyone else's good, since God's rich substance is unlimited and everywhere for all to use. There is no delay. That which is not for my highest good now fades from me, and I no longer desire it. My God-given desires are richly fulfilled now in God's own wonderful way. The students were also instructed to spend at least 15 minutes a day pouring their verbal prayers and blessings upon their listed desires. There seems to be almost magical power in thinking of one's desires, expressing them constructively by writing them down, stating the time by which one wishes their fulfillment, and then praying that God's goodwill will be done in the matter. Does it sound too simple to work? Great truths and powerful secrets often appear simple. So simple, in fact, that the average person overlooks them in trying to find a more difficult way. Write a letter to God. At the first of the year, instead of making a lot of New Year's resolutions, write a letter to God in which you honestly list all of your desires for the new year. Then place the sealed letter in your Bible. I must caution you, be honest with yourself when you write out your desires. Express your really deep feelings. Don't write out what somebody else wants for you or what you think you should desire. Be honest with yourself and your Maker if you really want happy results. Make a daily list. Another simple but effective way of invoking the creative law of prosperity is by beginning and ending your day making notes and lists. I usually write a note of thanks to God at the end of that list for the divine fulfillment and the divine achievements. It is amazing how many things are taken care of for me without my doing anything more than listing them and giving thanks for their divine fulfillment. In like manner, at the end of the day, I take another few minutes to go back over the day and write thank you notes to God for the blessings received and the good accomplished. I usually also begin thinking of the following day and make some notes concerning its perfect fulfillment. In case this list-making technique is beginning to sound slightly trivial to you, let me assure you that it is a success technique used by a number of successful people, more than most of us realize because they do not advertise their success secrets. I agree with the writer of the book of Proverbs when he instructed us, "Let not kindness and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the tablet of thy heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man." When you are trying to find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man, the writing out technique is indeed powerful. The mystics used to teach that everyone has an angel or higher self, and that when we cannot reach that angel in the usual ways, we should secretly write to it. In fact, the mystics even went so far as to describe 7 types of people with whom it is easier to deal satisfactorily by writing their angel than by trying to reason with them in the usual ways. Perhaps you are thinking, I'm sure this is fine mysticism, but how practical is this angel writing method? Well, you should realize that anyone you are having difficulty. Yes.
I get these Saturday morning webinars where they share ideas of empowerment, prosperity.
Well, thank you, and welcome. Was that a question or a comment? Oh, okay. You should realize that anyone you are having difficulty with, you have not been able to reach in the usual ways. So what have you to lose by secretly trying to reach them through their higher self or angel? Another note-writing technique that is particularly helpful in getting the bills paid is this. When those bills begin to arrive in the mail, instead of silently resenting them, write on the envelopes, quote, "I give thanks for your immediate and complete payment. You are immediately and completely paid through the rich avenues of divine substance." This method seemed to help gain control in your thinking about your financial affairs. Once you gain mental dominion, you're able to meet your financial obligations on time. It was Isaiah who advised us, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and to the writers that write perverseness." So, woe unto them that write about their troubles. Not realizing this, in a worried state of mind, man begins writing about his difficulties in detail to a number of his friends. Once he's magnified the difficulty in his mind and in the minds of others, it literally multiplied in his affairs. When you start reversing the process and secretly writing out how you wish your business affairs to be, your difficulties begin to diminish for the first time, perhaps, in months. In like manner, it is good in the face of adverse appearances to secretly write out each day how you wish your affairs might be in contrast to how they appear. Not only does that help your mind to accept the improvement you desire, but it is as though your written out desire goes out into the ethers and it is subconsciously tuned in on, and everyone concerned begins to cooperate and help. Again, it may seem a mystical method, but if it produces practical, helpful results for you, why not dare to be a modern mystic? Gain control of your past and future. It is also good to gain control of the past or future by writing out statements concerning them. I find in counseling people that many are still living in the past and regretting past mistakes. But the backward look keeps you from going forward and making present and future progress. I also realize that many fine people are afraid of the future. In either event, write out how you wish things might have been concerning some past mistake, or how you wish your life to be in the present and in the future. In like manner, if there is some future event that seems to threaten you, take control of it in your thinking by making lists concerning the way you wish it to be. The mind is man's wonderful servant when he realizes this and trains his mind to work for him. The creative law of prosperity can be all-powerful for producing success and happiness concerning your past, your present, and even your future. There are desires that all of us wish to see come into visible expression and to grow into fine results. Why not begin quietly joining countless others in producing greater good in your life through these creative methods for your prosperity? Begin now by first asking yourself, just what is it that you honestly desire most in your life? Be specific, be definite, and sincere with yourself. Then write down your dominant desires. Thereafter, declare in privacy, without telling anyone what you're doing, the divine fulfillment of your desires. Declare, quote, "I give thanks for the immediate, complete, and divine fulfillment of these desires. This or something better comes forth with perfect timing according to God's rich good for me. Well, then daily change and revise your lists as you feel led. Spend at least 15 minutes a day on your list. Dare to persist in this simple procedure and then get ready for a landslide of happy results. More than you have dreamed possible will come your way because God's friendly universe wishes you to be prospered and blessed. Again, I wish to remind you of the promise of Goethe. What you can do or dream, you can. Begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Why not prove it now? As one prosperous thinker has often said to me, I find the results really begin to come forth only after I start toward them. The creative methods I have presented here are simple but provable ways of helping you start toward your good. After you do start toward your good, however, don't be surprised if it rushes forth to meet you more than halfway. Powerful lessons, and I have a little suggestion that we might do to actually apply this teaching. And you know, Catherine urges us to spend 15 minutes a day writing our lists. Well, we meet once a week, so why don't we just refine the process to this? Why don't we simply, after this call, write down our lists of desires for next week, and then at the beginning of the call, each of us hold those lists in our hands while Monica reads the blessing and affirmation regarding those lists, and we will start a kind of a passive affirmative application of our teaching. Back to you, Monica.
Yeah, thank you. Great idea. I love anything that is practical here. And wow, I mean, this chapter is so beautiful because I remember last chapter into the letting go, you know, like we were asking some of us, we were talking about money, how much you need to think about money, how much you need to be clear about the amounts of money that you want besides any other thing. To me, when I write my desires, I write desires personal, financial, and everything, you know, health and everything. But I think it's very important to practice and to do it. So I'm totally with you. At the end of the call, let's write our list for the week, really what are our desires, and then we can bless them starting our next session, like you were saying, Doc Fran, reading the blessings here. But again, this is a skill that we are developing here, you know, like to be bold. I was touched with this word, you know, bold, you know, like to really be clear on what it is that you want and how do you want it. And to me, I don't get so much in the details lately, in the sense of allowing the details to appear. I love what she said on the chapter here about, you know, write the long-term goal that you have, you know, and then go back and see, you know, what it is that you can allow every month or every week even, to get familiar with it, and the right that we have to fine-tune it, you know, to really expand it and to modify it and to change it, because we look at our list every day and we are friends with it, so you can conceive it to begin with, and then you start to make it more into your life, and at the end we start to see it more in our life, you know, more and more often. So I love this chapter. Again, I think every one of these chapters are very powerful. So let's open the place here to see if anyone would like to comment. Arne, I can see your microphone open, and I want, before I can see you, Bo, also here down. So welcome, Bo. But let's open the microphone here. Arne, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to welcome Bo and all the new people here also. So yeah, it's making the list is so true for me, because it's something I am creating from inside out. It's like the science of getting rich is we are not in competition. We are the creators from nothing. It's like we are the dreamers, and the dream that I see is my dream, nobody else's dream. So I can create whatever I want in my dream. I do see a problem though, and that is when I see the dream and the dream doesn't match what I want, that I go in and try to work on the outside, work on making the world around me be the way I want it to be. Like I go into the dream and try to manipulate the scenario in there, instead of going back to the initial process here that Catherine Ponder is describing, is doing the list. The list is for me, not for the other people that I'm going to cram it, acknowledge me and honor me and give me money and all that. No, it's something that I'm creating for myself. So I just wanted to make that point, that the work is done inside, and the list is my list. Is like Doc Franz says, we don't need to read the list to anybody. The list is what I do because it's my consciousness. It's what I fabricate in me, which I then see in the mirror of my own mind, not something I'm trying to do with some other people. And I think that came out of me. So I'm done.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Arne. Yes, I thank you for bringing light to that, because I think that the tendency is to want to change, what I perceive already. And like you were saying, it's funny because all this is really, really coming deep for me, like I feel so excited because yes, it's all the time saying yes to. I remember when we were reading The Science of Getting Rich, and how simple it was, like, to think and to do in a certain way. And that certain way is more to be busy with the truth, with what I really look for, with knowing who I am, in this unlimited substance or unlimited God or whatever we want to call it here, but to have the right, to do that and to desire and to focus on creating from the inside out. So I'm totally with you, Arne, to, how much, it's so funny because I can see that in business, but in my intimate relationship with you, how much time I spend, excuse me for this, how much time I spend, wanting to change you instead of changing me or focusing on me, So it's something that we do so natural and so on automatic that I think is very beautiful to honor, to be patient, to be compassionate about it, and to focus, to be bold, on what is my intention here. And my intention is from the inside out, so I don't have to tell you, what it is that you need to do. I will have to, open up my heart or change my own thinking or whatever, even though I'm pro, constructive conversations and find a way together or whatever, But I mean, I love what you said, Arne, because it's so powerful, that tendency. Thank you.
Or even, I just leave this here, even see that what is perfect in a way. And we don't know exactly where it's going. We can have desires, but it doesn't mean that right now it's not perfect.
Thank you, Arne. Thank you very much. Great. Let's open the call. Anybody that would like to keep talking here to share a little bit?
I love there's a chapter, that this part of Write to Their Angel. It calls my attention all the time when Dr. Fran was reading it today, and I think it's so powerful. I love working with angels personally, It's like, and this point that she makes of the angel of that person that made something wrong, or, something happened with the person, write to that person's angel. I love that, Is that point to me it's very, very strong, very powerful, because it really works, to talk to that person or situation's higher consciousness, not to what happened, not to make the list or to the whatever, to what seems to be real, but go to a higher plane. And this is what she's talking about when something happened that didn't work out. Just call that person's angel, that person's higher being, higher self. And to me, that's very powerful. I had a very recent experience. You have talked with you, Monica, about it, and it really worked out. It's very, very powerful. Not always to refer to what seems to be the reality of the person or the situation or the business, but the higher, taking it to another plane and then seeing it in that level, and it really works. It's like the magic. I don't know. It's the energy, and it transforms the situation completely. And then also the point, Arne, that you were making, and when Dr. Franz said for next week to prepare the list, just to make sure that list is for us. Even it's going to be read, we're going to read it in the group, but it's our desire, what we want, not we think it would look pretty or would look nice, or just what we really want. And it's very powerful too, because it takes a lot of sincerity and inner work. It takes a lot of inner work just to be sure, just to be clear, is this what I want? Is this really what I want? And go beyond the fear and accepting it. I think it's very powerful, and I want to thank Dr. Franz for putting up in front for next week, because I think it's going to be very powerful. But that's my part.
Wow, thank you, Angel. Angel, I wanted to say thank you, Celio. And I called you Angel because I really think that you like the angel language, because you are an angel. So, but you're totally on. To me, it's a language that I need to learn. I have to be honest on this one, because I'm getting more and more this new language, and to really have the capacity to talk with your higher self instead of with the ego self that maybe I perceive at some point, and to be willing to let that go and to talk to the perfection of everything here and to vibrate high. And oh my gosh, we have so many possibilities. I feel so excited. Thank you so much, Angel. Thank you. Who else would like to open up here and to really talk about the law of creativity and all what we are applying here? Any microphone opening up here? Arne, you have the microphone open?
Well, if nobody else is saying anything, the way about talking to the higher self, I'm a little bit shamanic myself, and the way I've been doing that, I talk to the person. I don't call it the higher self. I haven't been, but and you, Monica, know I do that sometimes. I talk to the person inside me. And maybe that is it's the same thing. Obviously, it's the same thing, just a different language. That I am having a conversation with the reality or the person inside me, not with them outside in the world. Having, I need to talk to you by the phone or something. No, not like that at all. And I think that shamanic tradition is exactly the same thing as Celio is talking about. Talking with the higher self and talking to the angels and stuff like that. So that was a realization I just had here, and that has worked does work really well according to my experience.
Thank you, Arne. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we are very close to our time here, but I can see, Bo, that you opened the microphone. Beautiful. So welcome, Bo. If you have something to say.
Monica, thank you much. Arne, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. It's fascinating that we're always building towards goals and dreams and how can we make tomorrow better. And then you also have the aspect that time, a creation of man, really it falls into the Eckhart Tolle aspect of we're only in the now. And so sometimes as we're so focused on I want to make more money, I want to build this, I want to build this opportunity, I got to find more people, I got to build my team, we forget the now, we forget to appreciate the moment. And right now, I'm in a little place called Florida, where it's an absolutely spectacularly gorgeous day, and about a mile, 3/4 of a mile away from me is an airport where they're having an air show today, and last night, the planes were out there doing this evening flight with fireworks coming off the wingtips, and it's like just a spectacular vision. And if I turn my computer, I think you can see outside, maybe. I don't know if you can see through the window or not, but there's a beautiful golf course out there on a perfectly blue day. So, You know, and you and Arnie are living in a place called Costa Rica, which is, last time I checked, right next to paradise. So appreciating the now and keeping ourselves grounded in the now while we are constructing and creating our future, whether it be small dreams, big dreams, helping others, volunteering for things to make the world a better place. But we should always incorporate the fact that we are here right now, and to really honor and appreciate that the sky is blue and the grass is green and we're breathing, and we can smile or we can frown. It's all a matter of choice at the moment.
Thank you, Bo. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you so much. And I see microphone open, Doc Fran.
Right. Well, thanks, and what a pleasure, Bo. Thank you for joining us on the panel this morning. And I'm going to be real brief this morning. The panel has really touched on the critical points, and Celio's comments, as always, are spot on. Arne's, Bo's, etc. I'm going to give you another charge, because what was going through my mind as I read this and listened to myself read it this morning, and then listened to people responding back with their interpretations and viewpoints, is that we can all hear the same sentence, but that doesn't mean that we interpret it the same way. And so one of the things that I would urge us to do in order to gain that clarity that we all seek is to literally think and write out your definition, particularly of two words here. One, prosperity, which is, of course, the entire topic of this book. What is your definition of prosperity, your true internal definition? And two, abundance. What is your definition of abundance? And how does that filter your understanding of what you read and hear in these chapters? The second thing that struck me, particularly when Celio spoke, you expressed it with such utter clarity that it just keyed into me. We've talked a lot of times on our calls about the reality that we live in a dual existence. We are simultaneously immortal spiritual beings as well as physical human beings. Now, because of our upbringing and because of our surroundings, we're all quite accomplished at utilizing our human powers and skills, because we can see in all cases, in most cases, an immediate discernible result of any physical action that we take. If we, take a piece of paper and throw it across the room, we see the result of that action. We know that it took place. It has reality and mass for us. Most of us are very, very fledgling at contacting and using our spiritual powers. Now, of the two, the non-physical side of us is the far greater beingness. The powers of our non-physical self are far greater than our powers as a physical self. So Catherine has introduced to us in this chapter very quietly and very beautifully and very simply, again, taking on this dichotomy of being and acting simultaneously in a physical and spiritual beingness. And the techniques that she is espousing are simple little physical actions that are truly the flexing of our spiritual, non-physical power. I appreciate you all. I look forward to next Saturday's talk.
Thank you, Doc Fran. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel so touched. And again, I was just grateful for you, Doc Fran, because to make this practical, I think is what is important to me at this very moment. You know, I love the topic, but to really do it and requires work. And the idea is to enjoy this work, like to really, you know, there is a moment where it's our time to do the inner work that is required to enjoy this life, right? So thank you for that practice. Let's write our list now, then we complete this. And I want to say thank you to everyone for attending here, to the ones that you are on the other side, in the sense of that you cannot engage here verbally or presently, let's say. Remember that you can always email Arne, A-R-N-E, at unlimitednetwork.com. So you can get that link with a request that you would like to be in the panel. And then you can get a special link for you to be on the panel, and we love to hear your wisdom. And you know, we are all growing here together. The more, the better. So welcome again. And I mean, you allow yourself to be in the panel if that's your call. Okay, I love to share all of us here. And besides that, have a wonderful, wonderful week. We are going to get together next Saturday. That's going to be Saturday the 25th, already April, one more month gone. You know, it's like life is going so quick. So let's enjoy in maximum and being clear on what it is that we are experiencing here in life, okay? So we start to have the tools in our hands.
Okay, I'm not muted, but whatever.
Yeah.
So we're done.
Okay,
thank you, everybody.
guys. Thank
We
you.
lost the internet there for a second. Okay, goodbye. See ya.